NASCAR could move the championship date away from Phoenix Raceway after this year, and another week means some new faces have made it into my power rankings. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Last night posted my post-Phoenix race recap and analysis. You can click right up here in case you missed it. Christopher Bell may have dominated at the finish, but I think we learned an awful lot about where each manufacturer stands early this season. And in a few moments, when we look at my updated weekly power rankings, you'll see that a few specific drivers really jumped out at me this past weekend. First things first, though, last night on The Teardown, one of my favorite weekly podcasts, hosted by reporters Jeff Gluck and Jordan Bianchi, Jordan dropped a little nugget. He called it an educated guess, or specifically informed speculation. Not a report, not a fact, just a rumor that he's heard that Phoenix Raceway likely won't host the championship race in 2025.
I don't think Phoenix hosts the championship race in 2025. I think it's going to end up back at Homestead. I think today's race probably, I don't want to say sealed it. I think it was the wheels were already in motion for this to happen for various reasons. I think today's race kind of solidified it.
Homestead Miami Speedway, you say? Oh gosh, I know Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick, and Christopher Bell's ears just perked up. Their eyes just got cartoonishly huge. Maybe their mouths are watering a little bit. No, but in all seriousness, I would welcome this change. I'm one of the biggest Phoenix Raceway fans, I think, on the internet, but if you watched my video yesterday, you heard my take. I think Phoenix Raceway should be a championship venue. It shouldn't be the championship venue. I do believe the championship date should rotate at least every couple of years. Phoenix Raceway is near a big city, big market. They've renovated the facility in recent years. Typically, the fastest drivers and teams are rewarded there. It's not as chaotic as, say, a super speedway or maybe a road course. I like Phoenix Raceway hosting the championship, but I hope this rumor is in fact true because Homestead Miami Speedway is a fantastic track as well. And again, as much as I like Phoenix hosting the championship, I don't think it should have exclusive rights to the finale. Homestead Miami was the championship track for pretty much my entire childhood. I would welcome a return to South Florida in November. The 2025 schedule will be released at some point later this year. Could be late in the summer, could be even early fall if recent years are any indication. But I would love to see Homestead Miami Speedway return as the finale, especially considering how well the next gen car performs and races at intermediate mile-and-a-half style tracks. I have my own prediction. It may not be as educated or informed as Jordan Bianchi's, but I think it's legit. NASCAR owns Phoenix Raceway and Homestead Miami Speedway. So in the future, any venue looking to host the championship race likely needs to fall under NASCAR's umbrella. So no SMI tracks, not Las Vegas, not Texas, no Atlanta, no Bristol. No, has to be an ISC/NASCAR owned track. So that limits you. The championship also typically falls in early to mid-November. So I think you need to be somewhere where the weather is likely to be warm. That narrows things down to just 6 tracks. Hosting the finale at Daytona or Talladega would not be serious, so now we're down to 4. And Darlington Raceway already hosts the Southern 500 on Labor Day weekend late in the season. Don't mess with that date. So now we're down to 3. I believe that starting in 2025, the championship race will rotate between Homestead Miami Speedway, Phoenix Raceway, and Auto Club, if and when they get that short track project finalized. 3 NASCAR-owned ovals, all in warm weather cities close to major, splashy media markets. The championship date may go to Homestead next year, but I do not believe 2024 will be the final year of a Phoenix Raceway finale. I think it will be part of that 3-track rotation. 3 ovals, an intermediate, a kind of shorter intermediate, and a short track, all owned by NASCAR, all big cities, all warm weather. It's perfect. I think that'll be the rotation going forward starting in 2025. Give me your take down in the comment section below. Are you excited about the possibility of the championship returning to Homestead? Do you like Phoenix? Would you like to see Phoenix still be a part of that rotation in the future? Do you think my Auto Club prediction is way out of left field? Do you think there's some merit to it? Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Every week on this show all year long, I update my Out of the Groove power rankings, the top 10 fastest overall drivers and teams in the Cup Series right now, according to me. There was plenty of movement this week. Some top drivers fell out of my top 10, like Joey Logano. He's 30th in points. I gave him the benefit of the doubt for a couple weeks because he showed a lot of speed, but Phoenix was just a disaster. Kyle Busch is out of my top 10. Every week it's something. It's either the pit crew, the driver messing up on pit road, or this week, the car just wasn't good. I almost slipped the two RFK Fords into my top 10. They both scored top 5s at Phoenix, but they haven't been consistent enough yet to start the year to sneak into my power rankings. And Noah Gragson, I'll give him a shout out. 2 top 10s already on the year, finished 12th this past weekend. He's carrying the banner for Stewart-Haas. It's great to see a Stewart-Haas driver not named Kevin Harvick show signs of greatness. So I'm watching Noah Gragson very closely. With that being said, let's get to my legitimate top 10. Daniel Suarez still deserves a spot. He won at Atlanta a couple weeks ago. He's led laps in 3 of the first 4 races this season. Another solid 13th place result in the desert. His teammate Ross Chastain looks good. I just feel generally good about Trackhouse right now. Daniel Suarez at number 10. Welcome to the Out of the Groove Power Rankings. Ty Gibbs, 10th, 5th, and 3rd the past 3 races. Now, he hadn't led any laps this season until Phoenix, where he qualified 2nd and led 57. They struggled somewhat during the middle portion of this race, but a great pit call to put 2 tires on late allowed Ty Gibbs to work his way through the top 10, finished inside the top 5. I think Ty Gibbs is a worthy member of the Out of the Groove Power Rankings top 10. At number 8, our second Trackhouse driver cracks the list, Ross Chastain. 3 straight top 10 finishes, but Ross has only led 2 laps this season. In these last 2 weeks at both Las Vegas and Phoenix, the team had to use aggressive pit strategy to get Ross Chastain that track position. Then, credit to Ross, he drove the wheels off it 2 weeks in a row to get good finishes. But this team hasn't qualified very well, and they haven't shown a ton of speed during the race. They've just been strong at the end. The end is the most important, I guess. The results speak for themselves. Chastain is top 10 in points. He's top 10 in the power rankings. Another driver back in my top 10 after a couple weeks away is Martin Truex Jr. MTJ is tied for 2nd in points. He rallied late, recovered to finish 7th at Phoenix. That's why he's number 7 on my power rankings. That aggressive pit strategy employed by James Small did not work out, but I like that Phoenix Raceway was really the first race this season I think we saw legit top 5 speed out of Martin Truex Jr. He's been quiet and consistent at the other tracks this year. Veteran driver, he knows what he's doing. Martin Truex Jr. at 7. At number 6, I've got his teammate Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin opened the year with a victory at the Clash at the Coliseum, and he's led at least 10 or more laps in every race so far this season. But he only has 1 top 10 finish to his credit. And at Phoenix this past Sunday, he was racing for the lead when he spun himself out and never really recovered. Hamlin has collected the 4th most stage points of anyone this year, but he hasn't consistently been able to finish where he runs. Still plenty of speed though. I've got Hamlin at 6. At 5, give me Christopher Bell. I knew I was overreacting last week. I should have trusted my gut. I'd had Bell in my top 5 or 6 all year long for weeks, but after a disastrous race at Las Vegas, I felt the pressure to move Bell out of my top 10. I shouldn't have done that. I'm regretting it now. Christopher Bell was dominant, especially in the long run at Phoenix yesterday. I'm a little concerned with his pit crew. Honestly, I'm concerned with nearly every Toyota pit crew. I feel like they've all made at least one mistake this year that's been noticeable. But that dominant long run speed he showed at currently NASCAR's championship track speaks volumes, sent a strong message. At number 4, give me Kyle Larson. He was fantastic at Las Vegas a week ago. I expected more from him at Phoenix. He finished top 5 in both Phoenix races last year, yet never really cracked the top 10 at any point on Sunday. The Toyotas were able to pass in traffic, the Hendrick Chevys were not. That's a little concerning, but we're heading to Bristol this weekend where Kyle Larson has 8 top 10 finishes the past 9 starts. I'm not too worried about Larson. I think he's going to have a fantastic year. Kyle's at 4. Finally, I've made some major changes to my top 3. Tyler Reddick comes in 3rd. He obviously had that great run at Las Vegas, finished 2nd in every single stage. He led 68 laps yesterday at Phoenix, finished 10th. car seemed to fade towards the end. He didn't seem to handle as well in traffic as his teammates Christopher Bell or Ty Gibbs did. Toyota teammates. Still, a very encouraging start to the year for Tyler Reddick. Despite getting caught up in wrecks at both Daytona and Atlanta, Tyler Reddick is tied for 5th in the points. That's pretty fantastic. We've got a change at the top of the board. I guess actually it's the bottom if you're looking at this graphic. Coming in at number 2 this week, I've got William Byron. Look, he's the Daytona 500 champion. He had a great car at Las Vegas a week ago, but wasn't able to overcome the trash bag unscheduled pit stop. He qualified well at Phoenix, earned some stage points, but when he got pinned back in traffic because of varied pit strategy, I just mentioned it with Larson, the Hendrick cars could not make passes. He did not go forward. Like Larson, I fully expect William Byron to figure it out, have a fantastic overall season, but Phoenix was sort of an eye-opener, a bit concerning. Taking the top spot this week, number 1, Ryan Blaney. He's finished 2nd, 3rd, and 5th. 3 weeks in a row, 3 completely different types of tracks, a super speedway, a 1.5-mile intermediate, and a shorter oval. Long run, short run does not matter. You can count on that 12 team being up front in the mix late in these races. He may not have dominant speed right now, but they're very consistent, they're very steady. He's the defending series champion, and right now leads the regular season point standings. So there you go, my top 10 out of the groove power rankings after Phoenix Raceway. A lot of new faces, some changes there towards the top 2 or 3. Let me know if you agree with where your favorite driver is placed. Do you have any major disagreements? Let me know down in the comment section below. I've really enjoyed doing this segment, and it's been great to see the debate in the comments each week. Now, before I go, this past weekend at Phoenix Raceway, I was able to do a couple of live stage shows with Brennan Poole, NASCAR Xfinity Series driver. His boss, Alpha Prime Racing team owner, Tommy Joe Martins, joined us on Saturday. Huge thank you to all the fans who came out and watched the podcast live. This morning, I uploaded almost the full clip. I cut out some of the irrelevant bits about the Xfinity race that's already happened. But I wanted to share this specific clip with you guys, especially those of you out there who love the technical side of racing, because I think Tommy Joe Martins, Brennan Poole, and I had a great conversation around the difference between the Xfinity Series car, the next gen car, specifically why the next gen car struggles at these short ovals. I think Tommy Joe Martins had some great insights, so I wanted to share that clip with you all here today. I know this weekend there's been a lot made of this new rules package that the Cup cars are running. They've taken off large parts of the diffuser. They've, I think, raised the spoiler a tiny bit. They've got a new tire compound. I don't know if you saw any of the comments or talked to any Cup drivers since yesterday, but it sounded like the changes were minimal. Like they haven't noticed much difference between practice here yesterday and racing last fall.
When these cars get single file and spread out like they do on a long green flag run, I just don't think you're going to see a whole lot of difference. And I think that's kind of what the drivers were talking about, right? I think Hamlin said it was a 10% change. Yeah. I think that's probably about what you're looking at. I mean, it's going to take major changes to the underbody of these cars to really do anything aerodynamically to the short track package. It's either that or kick the power up, which you're talking to a couple of drivers up here. I don't think we're ever going to say anything about putting more horsepower on the ground. I think we're going to be fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see more power, but I mean, I talked to Justin Haley a little bit, and he did that test at Richmond, last year, and they took the whole diffuser off and all that stuff, and he's like, yeah, I didn't. I mean, it's so small, I didn't even really know they took it off. So I don't know. It'll be curious to see how big of a difference it is when they all race. When having driven the Cup car last year, I mean, that's the thing, is just when you're directly behind someone and you come to a place like Phoenix where there's not, you have options, you have those 2 lanes you can kind of move around on, but sometimes the preferred lane that you want to be in, you just can't run. You gotta get a whole car away from them. We run tracks where in the Xfinity car, you run right against the fence, right, at Miami, places like that. Sure. And you can kind of follow and also run that line and run the fence. And in the Cup car, it's like you can't do it. You have to be like a car below them to make it work. And I think that's kind of the challenging, is just that dirty air makes it tough. And the Cup field right now is so competitive that all the cars are basically running the same speed. Yeah. So it's so difficult to pass because you have to be a lot faster than that next car to pass them. So you end up getting, you have all the best drivers in the world with all these great teams that are spending all the huge amounts of money, and they all run within 0.6 of a second, which is like that. I mean, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that dirty air come into play at Las Vegas in the Cup race last weekend with Reddick and Larson. Aero blocking has become a popular term now, but now we're talking about on shorter ovals as well, and I think that has a lot of fans and even drivers. I'm sure their heads are kind of spinning, like what are we doing? This is so different, so radically different than even 10, 20 years ago. What makes the Xfinity Series cars somewhat, and obviously they're not immune to the dirty air effects, but like you just said, I mean, you're able to drive right up behind guys at a lot of the even higher speed tracks. Like, what is it? Everyone says the Xfinity Series car platform is, chef's kiss. It's like the quintessential stock car platform.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah. So what is it about the Xfinity car, since you've driven both? What's different?
I mean, look, it is the best. And we know that it is. It's so simple. So, I mean, we have a Cup car sitting over here, right?
Okay, let's analyze it.
There is a lot of aerodynamic stuff going on in that race car, and I would tell you that the Xfinity Series body is a composite body. It's a simple body. It doesn't have a whole lot of stuff going on it. There's really nothing on the underneath. If anything, all they wind up keep doing, because that's the other thing, is there's a lot of stuff you can't see on the Cup car, right? The diffuser and all the stuff that happens underneath, and the way that the air flows underneath the front splitter of that car, very different than on an Xfinity Series car. We have a pan that's probably about as big as this piece of plexiglass right here, not more big than about this, and that's like all the front downforce you're going to make is that in a splitter. That splitter is already way bigger than the one that's on an Xfinity car, and so that is what is hitting the front of the car, creating that front downforce, creating all that disturbance in the air here, and it's just not as much. It's not getting spit out the back by a big diffuser like on the back of this car, which is already disturbing the air a whole lot more, and now there's less to go on the nose of another car, right? So it's more precious. So that all of that kind of works together, and we're telling you all this stuff. It's like, how many people here showed up to watch a diffuser race? Like, I don't think anybody showed up to watch a diffuser. I think you guys showed up to watch some cars race and maybe run into each other, which I just think our cars are a whole lot better at doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Xfinity car right now is one of the most fun cars to drive. Because of the lower downforce, and you're slipping and sliding around, you can do more stuff. You can pack air on people.
The smaller wheels or tires as well.
We run on a great tire. I think our tire, the tire compounds and stuff, they really have it dialed in for the Xfinity Series. Goodyear does, and so I mean, a lot of these places the tires do wear out, and it just makes great racing. And we're able to do stuff, in the Xfinity car where we, can manipulate the air, push. You get really close to someone's left rear, you can kind of push some air on them and get them loose, and you can do stuff where you can't do that in the Cup car anymore. We used to be able to do that, but so it's just kind of changed the style of racing, and the Xfinity is still a little bit more, where you can get closer to one another, beat and bang, run in the same lines, kind of manipulate the guy in front of you a little bit, which is very difficult to do that in the Cup car now. You can't really manipulate that guy in front of you. You have to just be faster than him and run not in his line.
Yeah, but like the brakes on that car are much better than the brakes on our car, right? So there is less off throttle time, whereas in the Xfinity car, you're off the throttle a lot. I mean, you look at the fall off just from your practice earlier today. The fast time from the 21 car, which was like in the top 5, I mean, you're talking about in a 25 lap run, a second and a half, 2 seconds worth of fall off. I mean, that's just not happening in a Cup car. It's got too much grip.
They drive so good. I drove it for the first time at Dover, and I got out, and I was like a big old smile, and that was crazy because I'm like, I've never ran that hard a car that hard at Dover before. It just has so much grip.
Right. And so if it's got so much grip for you, it's got so much grip for everybody else too. And that just makes it really hard to pass. When everybody's car is handling good, then nobody's passing anybody. Because, of course, you're all maxing out everywhere. Yeah. But when people's cars start handling poorly, which there is a much more wide breadth of that in the Xfinity Series, then that just makes for better racing.
Thanks again to Tommy Joe Martins and Brennan Poole, of course, for doing that live show out at Phoenix. I'll put a link down in the description below if you want to catch the full interview with Tommy Joe. We covered a lot of great stuff there. I encourage you to check it out. That's going to do it for this episode, y'all. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. We talk NASCAR all day, every day, all throughout the year. And a huge thank you, as always, to my very generous Patreon supporters. Shout out to all the Patreon members in that fantasy league. Good times being had. Thank you all for watching this episode. I will catch you again later this week. Got some special guests joining us soon that I think y'all will be excited about. Have a good rest of your Monday, folks.